Yes lads, welcome back to a new video on the channel today. We're going to look at redemption arcs, which we can look at in FIFA 23. The first one will be Eden Hazard, and that's a man we need to bring back to his glory days. Remember when he played for Chelsea and he was doing stuff like this? I mean, taking on a player here. Another one here, cuts inside, through the legs, and then through Mignolet. I mean, that player was an absolute baller, and obviously being 89 rated back in the day was fantastic. Probably one of the best cards on the game. I think he was 90 rated at his absolute peak for Chelsea, but obviously now 84 rated. I feel like the best thing to do would be to sign him for another London club, maybe West Ham United. Could go back to Lille, or he could go to someone like Inter Milan. I feel like that's like a realistic sort of thing we could see Eden Hazard doing in a career mode in the future. So, of course, we're going to go into another player as well as the next one we're going to look at, which is Isco Alcaron. Obviously now of Sevilla, I mean, prime Isco was an absolute demon. 89 rated on FIFA 19, and just look at him. Look at that. Such a player. The through balls, the finishing. I mean, he literally had it all. Such an absolute baller. Really, really good to watch Isco back in his prime. I mean, he's only just joined Sevilla, so you're not looking at selling him to any other clubs or buying him for another club, especially someone like Malaga. But I mean, try and get him back to that, because he can definitely be that good again. I know he can be that good. He's such a naturally gifted, technically gifted player. So that's another one to go for. Genuinely insane in his prime, Isco. Genuinely someone I'd recommend doing in a career mode to just bring him back to where he used to be, and that is someone who you need to save for your career mode. So the next player, of course, is Marcus Rashford again. Marcus Rashford in his prime. What an absolute scary prospect he was to play against, I can imagine, for the defenders. Look at the stuff he used to do. I mean, I remember watching a game when he played Liverpool. He scored both goals. This one's ridiculous. He like heel chops it and smashes it past Karius. It's not difficult, but obviously still a good goal indeed. And then this one, another one which went through Karius' hands, but still, Rashford in his absolute peak was ridiculous. He really, really was. So the interested clubs, you'd imagine, would be PSG, Chelsea, and potentially Newcastle was a bit of a weird left field one. You know, Chelsea and PSG were heavily linked with him in real life. So I could see him going there, and that's what you need to get back to. His absolute peak, or he will be the next Dele Alli. There's no denying that. We don't want that. Rashford's much more technically gifted and physically inclined than Dele Alli ever was. So yeah, that's the first three players we've seen already, and we're going to move on to the next one, Mario Gertz. I mean, do I have to show any clips about how good Mario Gertz was? I don't think I do, because he was probably Dortmund's best player for a couple of years. No one's going to be interested because he just moved to Frankfurt. But the most famous goal of his career is this goal in the World Cup. Lovely ball by Muller, and the finish past Sergio Romero. I mean, get him back to that, guys, please. He was an absolute baller. Even for Bayern Munich, that's probably his absolute peak. And I feel like he'd be a perfect addition to, I mean, any team in the second season. He's just joined Frankfurt, so no clubs will realistically buy him in the first season. I mean, if you do a Frankfurt career mode, he's a perfect player to, I mean, just captain your side. Such an experienced international. And yeah, let's rebuild Gertz, because you need to fulfill his potential and make him as good as he was once predicted to be by just about everyone, really. So, of course, the next player I'm thinking about for a rebuild will be Antoine Griezmann. No clips of this guy, because, I mean, do you need to see how good Antoine Griezmann was? I don't think you do. Absolute world-class striker. 89 rated was his highest FIFA card at Atletico Madrid. Now 83, of course, but the club's interested. I just imagine Real Sociedad would be interested, his former club. That'd be a nice little reunion for him. He could stay at Atletico, of course, or he could go back to France and play for PSG, or even Newcastle, another team, because they're literally interested and linked with everyone. So, you know, it's a good arc to go for, Griezmann's arc. I feel like he'd be a good player to bring in for any team in career mode if you're looking at someone who's an absolute world-class icon. So we have got 5 more players to look at rebuilding and redeeming in a career mode. The first one would be Marcel Sabitzer. Now of Bayern Munich, obviously. His highest FIFA card was 84 rated, which was last FIFA. But he's dropped off the face of the world. Really, really poor last season, Sabitzer. Pretty iffy in general. Little injury prone as well, so that's not helping him either. Allen is the next one. I think his highest FIFA card was 85 rated for Napoli, maybe even 86 rated. But obviously, since he's been in the Premier League, he's sort of dropped off the face of the world. Really, really disappointing season for him last year. He's been phased out the team by a 19-year-old Andre Onana. He's not Andre Onana, what's his name? Amadou Onana. So yeah, not great for him so far. And obviously Wijnaldum is the next one I'd look at. Two Liverpool current and former players there. Wijnaldum being the first one, Arthur being the second one. Both the highest rated cards, 84 rating. And they sort of sit in that pocket in midfield. So if you need someone who can do pretty much anything in midfield, all-rounders who are excellent on the ball and distributing it, I feel like they'd be good additions to your side. Obviously, Wijnaldum's on loan at Roma and Arthur on at Liverpool. So you have to wait a season or two to get them. Then the final one, Alessio Romagnoli. His highest rated card is only an 83, which I was surprised about because he used to be an absolute baller when he was the captain of AC Milan. But now he's joined Lazio, of course, and I feel like he'd be a perfect addition to any back line, really. Even if you do a Lazio rebuild, obviously they've not got the real badges like Roma, but still, Lazio rebuild would be quite fun because they've got an aging squad, and Romagnoli could be a future captain for this Lazio side. So yeah, guys, they're the 5 players I recommend as well. Then we've got 2 more bonus players to look at in a second. So yeah, if you're interested in them 5 players, guys, they've got very good cards. That's their in-game stats. Well, their real stats. So that's not their in-game stats. That's their overall stats. And I feel like they'll fit perfectly in any career mode redemption arc because they're like mid-tier ones. The first 5 are high-tier ones. I'd suggest anyway. So the next bonus one we've got is Jerome Boateng. Look at that start. 47 pace. That's horrendous. A 32 decrease in pace since FIFA 17. Man's lost a leg. He really, really has. I mean, it's all from this. Look at that. This is the best piece of skill I've ever seen in a football match. Boateng never recovered from that. And you know, it is what it is, isn't it, guys? You can't blame the guy, really. Still an absolute talent in his peak. And even though he's 32, I think with dynamic potential, you can be able to bring him back up. So I feel like he'll be a good addition to your rebuilds, to be honest. And he's not the only centre-back we've got to cover, of course. We've got another one coming at the end. That's an absolute baller, that is. But, I mean, his passing's got better, his dribbling's got worse, everything else has. But, you know, try and rebuild Boateng, that's a good one. And then we've got the final one, Harry Maguire. I mean, that is his highest FIFA card, which was on last FIFA, 84 rating. It's definitely not his peak, because his peak was the 2018 World Cup when he scored that goal against Sweden. I mean, the delivery's pretty flat, but the finish from Maguire. I mean, he's never been better than he has in that absolute moment for the England national football team. But yeah, I feel like the club's interested. Linked in real life was Chelsea, who are heavily linked. And then obviously West Ham would be a good option, and also AC Milan, since that's where Tomori rediscovered his format. But I mean, look at the in-games, they're actually that bad. He's got decent ball control, decent reaction, decent dribbling for a centre-back, very good passing for a central defender. Physical's obviously great. Defending's not bad. The 48 pace isn't great, but if you sim in games, Harry Maguire could actually be a decent defender in this career mode. So guys, that's just about all I've got time for. I really appreciate you watching as usual. Please like and subscribe. Catching the video on the channel very soon, guys. See you soon.